Hey everybody, it's John McBride with ARM US. I'm just going to get a thumbs up from FX that he can hear me and that we're good to go. And all right, very good. Basically, we are going to be discussing just a anyway, we a couple of minutes for or just a minute or so for everybody to be able to. We are talking about the Parrot Anafi USA, a specialized drone kind of engineered and created for answering the call of security issues, a good optical camera. We're also talking a thermal integration, and we've invited FX here for kind of explaining and telling us a bit more about what this awesome ship is all about. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce, and I know I tear it up every time. That's why we've got the shortened FX version. But I want to go ahead and introduce FX from Parrot. And if you want to just tell everybody kind of what you do, as well as I hate beating up your name here, but it is a lot easier.
No problem, John. Thank you very much for the introduction and the opportunity to be here with you guys today. So yeah, my name is François Xavier, but people call me FX. It's easier and shorter. About me, really briefly. So it's been 10 years. I'm in the UAV industry, which is kind of a lifetime considering the industry we're in, and I've been working for Parrot since 9 years. I've been working in different territories in France, in sales in the United States. So so today, as you said, we're gonna introduce and discuss the new ship, the new platform we have, Anafi USA. Quick recap on Parrot and the Parrot Group, just for people that maybe don't know. Parrot is the #1 European drone group. We have different companies in this group. We have Parrot drones, so with the quadcopters. We have SenseFly, which is the fixed wing company. We have Pix4D, dedicated for photogrammetry software, and we have MicaSense, which is dedicated to agricultural payloads. All these companies are part of Parrot Group, and today we're going to introduce the Anafi USA, which is a product from Parrot drones.
Excellent. So overall, we've been super excited for basically the entrance into the market of a product that is, as you said, the Anafi USA. This implies that as something that was engineered specifically for the Army, but also manufactured here in the United States. Engineered abroad, but manufactured, put together, and assembled here in the United States. And again, we're going to learn quite a bit today about some of the other engineering for security issues. And again, this has been an issue kind of overall, and the fact that Parrot has done a great job understanding this market, if you will, to be able to say that we've got a solution that will help you and make sure that none of your data is going anywhere, make sure that you're in control of that very well. And then we'll talk a little bit more, again, about the specs and use cases in which you're going to be showing. So I'll basically let you take it from here, FX, on kind of explaining to everybody what this new ship is about. So let's go ahead and give it over to you.
Thank you, John. So as you said, the story behind this is that we've been approached by the DoD and the DIU in 2019 to develop with them a project for the SRR program. The SRR program is Short Range Recognition Program for the US Army. So we've been working very closely with the US Army on this project. And Anafi USA somehow is the result of this project. It's a drone where we have learned, and we have learned from this project, and we have put it in this drone answers to the concerns of the security and the privacy that people need. Also on the manufacturing side, because we are manufacturing in the US, as you said, and also about the capabilities. The capabilities, it's not only something we've learned through the SR project, it's also something that we've learned through the various ships, the various platforms we have had commercialized in the market, and especially the latest one being Anafi Thermal. Anafi Thermal is used by several agencies, is used by several different enterprise customers, and they reverted back to us with some ideas and some things they would like to see in the product. So this product also answer these needs. And so basically, this is why we can say, and we actually state the fact that Anafi USA has been designed for the US Army, but ultimately is made for enterprise and public safety. And so the target of this, the targeted verticals or people for this drone are definitely first responders, such as police, state troopers, firefighters, search and rescue, security agencies, all type of people that need a platform for like safety, and enterprise professionals in inspection. So for power lines, solar panel, tower, in energy. We already work with several energy companies, utilities companies in the USA, and they were wanting something a bit above what we had. And so here comes the Anafi USA. And it's also a solution for surveying somehow, because you'll be able to map with the product. So that's about what segment we're actually targeting with the drone.
So it, like I said, there's obviously been a lot of overall engineering, very smart that and capability and all this other stuff, but I did want to share that my experiences so far with the Parrot and Anafi has been very good. We've been able to use that. I've done a number of webinars with you, as well as just videos showing exactly how that system works. Now that we've got a slightly different shape of the platform, the form factor is different, the lens profile, it's different to include batteries and everything else. We're still maintaining this high level of security, and I know that we have already in the use cases that we've done, besides public safety, we have a lot of energy groups that have opted to buy a Parrot. That we have a lot of dams, areas and spaces, and doing inspections of very critical infrastructure that tends to be a problem when it comes to other manufacturers. So keeping this in mind, and how you guys are developing that moving forward, again, very proud to say that we're supporting this product and helping you, Parrot, as well, get into the, understand the ecosystem of the whole company, with, as you had mentioned, the SenseFly to Parrot to MicaSense to Pix4D, and helping people navigate your guys'
companies. And I want to enhance a bit what we've done on Anafi USA, because Anafi USA is in terms of security is even above what we've done in the past. First, and as you mentioned, well, Parrot is a French company. Parrot is a European company, and all the development and research is done in Paris in our office. This drone will be made in the USA. It will be assembled and manufactured in Boston, Massachusetts. We have partnered with a company called Neotech. This company is specialized in manufacturing for the aerospace, for the defense, for the medical. So they're really much capable of in manufacturing high-end tech products. What does this mean? GDPR is the acronym for General Data Protection Regulation, which is a Europe regulation that requires business to protect the personal data of and the privacy of the users and the citizens. So this drone has passed all the GDPR compliance steps and required. The drone is fully GDPR compliant. And this is GDPR, just so you know, is the highest standard today in terms of data protection in the world. Then on the product itself, and so when you're using it, there is no data sent to our servers by default. If people want to share or agree to share, and also for like, you know, troubleshooting and this type of things, they can, but it's an opt-in option within the Free Flight 6 app, which is the control app. So no data is sent to us. That's really important. Second thing here about the safety, we have developed an encryption method of the SD card, of the SD card to protect the data that is stored on the SD card. So we have an AES algorithm with 512-bit key length that protects this data, and you set up this key through the app again. And so when you lose, or if someone is stealing your SD card, nothing will be accessible. It's fully secured, and only through the drone, through the Free Flight 6 app, you're going to be able to access your data. Overall, GDPR compliant, no data sent, SD card encryption. The firmware that we upload on the drone, which is actually containing all the software of the drone, is digitally signed, which prevent malicious modification of it. And so it's really safe you cannot get into it. And ultimately, how we secure the connection between the drone and the ground control, it's through the WPA2 connection. So this is secure too. So all the layers of security are actually here and secured, especially now with the SD card encryption. So this is just to give you an outlook of why we actually saying that this drone is highly secured. It's because of all of this piling up.
Yeah, so I can clearly see again that a lot of people have been concerned about that, you know, and the SRR portion that you guys are doing as far as Parrot is concerned with the Army also needs to have a certain amount of security as well. So, well, let's talk a little bit more on some of the other stuff that you've got there, FX. You know, overall use time, flight time, all this other stuff. Like what are I think you had a PowerPoint or something to show me today that and our viewers that talked a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I'll start with the imagery and what we've done with the product. So I have a product with me here that you should be able to see. Yep. And so you're able to see the camera here. We have developed an industry unique camera system where we have 3 sensors. So we have a wide angle 4K electro-optical sensor. Plus we have a telephoto electro-optical sensor too. So these one work together. And the third one, which is a FLIR Boson 320, so thermal capabilities. All of this is mounted on a gimbal 2 axis plus a digital stabilization of 3 axis. So it's fully digital, it's fully stabilized, and have a 250-degree capabilities with the gimbal. Okay, so it's even more than what we had previously because of the shape and what we could achieve here in how we designed this. And so, of course, we have the thermal and the RGB blending with the different cameras that we have here. So we're blending the imagery coming from the 2.4K and the FLIR. And the special, well, using these 2 4K sensors, we are actually able to zoom up to 32 times in stabilized. So we have an example here on a video that you guys can play where we're going to be zooming in on an inspection. If you can just play this video.
Mm-hmm. That up right now.
Yeah. So that's the example we're having here.
Yeah, so we can see basically the ship ready to fly, ready to go, and doing its thing here. You can see the thermal imaging, IP53 rated. You know, that's a great video of showing. Yep.
The idea really is to see here how far you can go with the 32 times zoom. And I'll also show you some stuff here where about the camera capability. So this is what we've seen in inspection with the 32 times zoom. This is another example on a tower, communication tower, where we zoom on just the antenna, and so we zoom out and we have the wide view. And this is another example with a police operation. Now, because we have the FLIR boson 320 integrated, first, this camera is of what we had in the past, and this has been, you know, something we've listened from the users and from several agencies. They were like, okay, we like Anafi thermal. The blending you guys have done in order to give context with the 4K, so RGB and thermal is good, but we need more resolution on the thermal side of things, and we need a better zoom. Okay, so so this is why we've changed the sensor here, and the FLIR boson is a 320. And so we can have, this is an example of human detection at night. So from 65 feet, from roughly 100 feet, from 150 feet, and from 328 feet. And so these are a few examples on how you see clearly a human detection at night with the FLIR boson 320, and we have the blending here. Also, because we have these 2 cameras working together, with the zoom plus the thermal, all of 3 of them, the triple camera, all integrated. Here is a picture where you can see that we have the wide view of the solar panel, and we have a zoom area just here where we zoom in thermal. So you're able not only to zoom in RGB, but also zoom in thermal. So that's about the imagery. I don't know if you have some questions, John, on this.
No. I think again, there's a couple of other ships that are out there in the market that utilize the boson sensor as well. And since you had just shown basically what I would call a relative picture, meaning that there are anomalies that show up, but not necessarily are we doing radiometric imagery here. So I just wanted to be very clear that it's not radiometric, not like the Anafi thermal, but you can still, just by clearly on your image there, you can clearly see that you can still see anomalies even though they may not be a measurable temperature. So I just wanted to be clear with that on the viewers. And some of the other systems out there, if you've been paying attention to the market right now, include others that are just like that. Boson sensors installed into an Autel or other, this new Skydio. There's a couple of new things, and they're all using that same technology, if you will. But we want to be very clear on that. Not radiometric, but dang, the zooming capability and actively doing both at the same time I've not seen if anyone else does that, FX, to be honest with you. I don't know. I think that's something special that you guys have done here. I think no one else does that, where we're having both images on the screen zooming in on both images at the same time.
Exactly. It's very unique, and we've been working in order to have these three cameras working together in order to be able to do this. It's very impressive when you see the three of them with the thermal working, and it's an industry first on the drone side of things. This having several lenses together and being able to do wide and zoom and so on. This exists on smartphones. This is what you have on some smartphones, but this is very unique on a drone. So this is what we've done. This is all internal development.
Yeah, so I mean, to be able to get that level of zoom by utilizing both of the field of view from your RGB camera is, again, I think a kind of a specialized thing. Most, again, I've mentioned a couple other companies here, and normally they just have the one thermal camera and then the one RGB camera. And even though that seems like a really good developed, engineering thing, you guys have obviously taken it one step further for the inspection people, obviously public safety, to keep your standoff distance far enough to then zoom in and use all three cameras. So I think that's a very specialized thing. So there's a couple other things that you had wanted to mention on development and creation. I mean, we're talking the batteries are not the same anymore. Those are slightly different if anybody's familiar with the Anafi. The controller and system apps and everything else. So anything else you wanted to share there? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So regarding the platform, it's what we call rugged and mission ready. First, as you briefly mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, it's IP53. So what does this mean? It means that it's dust protected, and so IP53 stands for IP with the number 5, and 5 is dust protected. And just so to give you an example, we have put this in a box, throwing sand on it during 13 hours continuously. And the drone didn't have any issue afterwards to fly and the camera to work. So this is the level of dust we've tested on this drone. And so it's number 5, IP5 for the dust protection. Then it's IP53, and the 3 stands for water falling as a spray. So the definition is basically water falling as a spray at any angle up to 60 degrees from the vertical. This means that you will be able to fly this drone under rain, and this is a good, robust, mission-ready platform. In terms of battery, you were saying that the battery is different. Yes, the battery is slightly different. The battery is slightly bigger. The flight time is actually 32 minutes on this drone. About the drone size, the drone is actually a bit bigger than what we had on the Anafi thermal. However, it's still very light. The drone is 1.1 pound in terms of weight, and this is something important. People that need to have a lot of gears on them. The weight does like the Anafi thermal for this, because Anafi thermal is 0.7 pound. This one is 1.1 pound. So that's about it. Regarding the operationality of the drone, you will be in the air in 55 seconds, which means that you open it, turn on, connect and go. You can end launch and end land directly. So if you have a unstable ground, it's easy enough to make it. What else required indoors? So if people want to fly indoor, they can, because they have a stabilization system with a vertical camera and an ultrasound here, and this is no problem. They can fly without GPS. Now, obviously, if we want all the return home, mission planning things and so on, GPS needs to be activated. But there is no limitation in terms of geofencing, and so it means that you can take off wherever you want with the product. Regarding the stabilization of the drone, and also quickly the propellers. So we've changed, and these propellers are actually new. with a dedicated, I'm just trying to show you here, with a dedicated shape, which is better for the aerodynamism of the product. The product remains very silent, and so we can expect 79 dB at 50 centimeter from the ground. This is the kind of measurements we've done. And the propeller system is now changed, and so you actually just screw and unscrew them really quickly to put them on or off if you want to change them. So that's about the platform. John, I don't know if we have any question or if you want any details.
No, I think you've covered that very well. Like I said, I was, in flying and operating it indoors. I did notice it being a lot quieter than some of the other competitors' drones. So definitely the design of the propeller looks like a feather. I mean, it's got a serrated end on it, and I was curious if they were going to stay with that on that design on a production, because again, you had said, besides it being aerodynamic, it's actually pretty quiet overall. So very surprising to me how quiet it was. So maybe just a little bit about the actual controller, how it's been, what we're using, and I know that you can basically set this up with an iPhone and using your app, and as well as understanding that people can still put an iPad on there if they needed to, or something a little bit bigger device. So maybe just a little bit of an explanation on that.
Yeah. So what we want more than anything is the product to be ready and easy to use. So the product is coming in a pack, fully suited with everything. So that's the pack, okay? And so that's a rugged case where you're gonna have the product, the controller, USB charger, in order to be able to charge all the USB batteries in one go. You have the iPad adapter for the controller, and you have 3 batteries in the pack. So that's about the package. And then about the controller you were talking about. So controller is coming as the Sky Controller 3, so it's the same controller we're using on Anafi Thermal. Now we have settings and options because FreeFlight 6, which is the app that is also compatible with Anafi Thermal, will be coming as soon as the product is available in a new version, which is FreeFlight 6.7. This new version will be, of course, available on iOS and Android, and will not only give the support to the 3 cameras of the Anafi USA, where you can switch between the thermal and the visible. It's going to be also bringing new options. So within the app, you're going to have a new widget where you have the display of the GPS coordinates directly. So while you're flying on your screen, where you have the video feedback, you're going to have the GPS coordinates that you can share easily, and the different GPS, so longitude, latitude, encrypt and decrypt the SD card, but also choose if you want the drone to be accessible from a computer when you plug it, etc., etc. So all of this is new and embedded in FreeFlight 6. And we're going to be changing slightly what you can do with the return home. Currently, the return to home function we have is the drone would return to home from the takeoff point, and we're going to be giving much more options into the return home. And so people will be able to actually choose if they want the drone to return to home or to the pilot, if they want to move home to a location, etc., etc. So we're adding much more options into this return to home. So all of this will be available to work with the Sky Controller 3 and with the new version of FreeFlight, which is the 6.7.
Awesome. Yeah, I think overall everybody's kind of been excited about, like I said, understanding that that the USA is going to solve a lot of problems, both with security. Needs to be known as far as this new ship. you also have a layer of SDK built in this as well. So can you maybe elaborate a little bit more on the SDK capabilities? I know you guys have been working with companies to do this as well, so and maybe just a little bit more about the possibility with opening this door to SDK developers and creating or working with you to then create better flight apps, better this or better that, because we already make some pretty good apps, just they do, but there's so many others that make things a lot better. So not to say that sometimes people can go, hey, I think I can make this better, but you are working with a couple of companies, and I wanted you to maybe talk about your current use of apps out there right now.
Yeah, thank you about this. So basically, about the SDK, first thing, SDK is something that we've been working on hardly in the past several years, because we believe that that the drone needs to be accessible for people that want to use it, and this is part of a global philosophy where we think that in the drone ecosystem today, that very well what you guys do at RMUS, is that you put pieces together and you build solution to dedicated professionals, being in public safety, in construction, etc., for gears that suit their needs, not only in terms of hardware, but also software. And so our philosophy is to say, we know how to do good product, we know how to do good softwares, but there is so much we can do, and we cannot be at the best everywhere. There is people doing better software for dedicated verticals or dedicated missions. And so that's the philosophy behind this. We're here to produce a drone that is reliable and trusted, and then people can communicate with it. So that's the philosophy behind the SDK. And the SDK is open source. And so we've been working in order to have several solutions available at launch natively when Anafi USA will be available in August. First of all of them is obviously Pix4D. So Pix4D, we know that people like to use our products in conjunction with Pix4D in order to map being in 2D, in 3D, etc. So the product will be compatible with Pix4D Capture for the mission planning, and it will be compatible with Pix4D React and Pix4D Mapper for the post-processing. In terms of other example of what is going to be compatible with, it's going to be compatible with Survey, which is an intelligent video, image, and data platform. It's going to be compatible with different operation and fleet management systems, such as Drone Logbook. You guys are working with AirData also, so all of these kind of operation and fleet management systems. We are also working with Kittyhawk to make it compatible with their software for US operations. And we're working also with DroneSense, which is an all-in-one platform for public safety operation, and which will give you also the opportunity to live stream what's going on. This is the software ecosystem.
And again, don't want to bash on any other manufacturers here, but there are a lot of manufacturers that just do not have this capability. It's good to see that Parrot's going down this road and wanting to go ahead and show that we want to encourage them to move forward. And as you said, we're very solution centric. We try to build the kits and the parts, the pieces, the batteries, devices that are all contained within a space or inside of a box. And once we've, is going to be best depending on the setup. So even from there, we're talking, sometimes we go ahead and and work with even GPC to create a specialized, case that's kind of specific towards that. Maybe a case that we've modified or even added a foam set to your current case that adds in value overall to the solution-centric idea. So I think, again, we're mostly about your hair. I think I'm mostly just jealous about your hair. It's it's really nice.
I'm not as good as you on the
No, I really wanted to say it's incredible. It's overall incredible on the development on this. So I hope that we get a lot of people excited about that. Jace, did you have just turning my usually co-host Jace is usually giving us questions and stuff like that. I didn't know, FX, if you had a bit more you wanted to express or talk about, or any other videos that you wanted to show, or are you before we kind of get into the Q&A section?
Yeah, just to conclude on what we have, really try to do, and what we're providing to the market here is that we bringing a new solution based on a proven platform that is the Anafi platform, and Anafi thermal has been already used around the world by different entities, being the Swiss Army, being first responders, energy professionals, etc. And so we're bringing, we've succeeded in launching a mass production drone with the same value proposition as a military drone, but for a fraction of its cost, because the MSRP of Anafi USA is $7,000. And so this is really what it's an unrivaled quality price ratio, basically. So no, that's it. About availability quickly. So the drones will be available in August through RMUS, of course. And that's it on my side on the specs and so on.
Yeah, excellent. Now, maybe we'll just do a quick discussion about that pricing and the overall competitive portions of the market. Who is kind of looking at the price being a very important thing, and then other people that are developing something that's very similar or have already been out there on the market right now. And I'm pretty sure with the specs that I'm seeing right here, which seem to be a little bit, they seem to be better. They seem to be better. That the numbers I'm seeing on other products are actually $2,000 more expensive for something similar. So I'm hoping that, again, with the support of myself, RMUS, and everyone else in the market, can really find value with somebody spending $7,000 for a baseline setup. Because I think that is a big challenge for a lot of the departments, is to try to get a budget that makes sense to them, something that they can allocate money to and get the best bang for their buck, and this kind of seems like it. What do you think, FX?
Yeah, exactly, John. And there is one thing that we need to remember only, is that this product is unique and the value proposition is unique. Why? Because you have in a form factor like this, in a 1.1 pound drone, and ready for your missions. So, as you said, it's pretty unique, and I'm glad we're bringing this to the market, and with this aggressive price. This is going to be a big tool for agencies, and it's really suited for it.
Excellent. Jace, any like I said, any questions that we've got?
We've actually got many.
Oh, we've got many. We don't have a few, FX. Here it comes.
Okay, let me just filter through here real quick. I'm going to
out real fast. Okay, so just filtering through a couple of these real quick. I'm not on camera today. Sorry, you don't get to partake of me. But let's just kind of start, take it a little bit underhand here to start off with, then we'll get to something a little more a little more deep. This is speaking to the encryption that you were talking about. On this encryption, when one is trying to send data, does the recipient also need the key to view the data collected? This is probably an FX question here.
So if you've encrypted it, if you've encrypted the data and sent it somewhere on your SD card, what do they need on the other end to decrypt that data?
The SD card is encrypted to enter it. So if you, it's exactly like a house. You have the key of the house, you get into the house. Then you can take any object and get it with you. But first you cannot access. If you don't have the key, you don't access the house. So to answer the question, the data, if you have the key to unlock the drone and access to the drone, then the file you're gonna extract from the drone, this file can be sent elsewhere.
It's mainly this development here, or this creation here was, I would suspect from what kind of I'm hearing here, is that it's about what if the drone crashes somewhere and you've got very critical data on there. We'll just say something like that happened. It crashed, it was shot down. I mean, for whatever reason, you lose the drone and the card is on the drone. I would see that more for this reason rather than encrypting SD card information, other than, again, like you said, to access initially. But once it's already then accessed, pulled off the card, and then sent somewhere, you can do whatever you want. I mean, that's kind of how I see this as being kind of the play-in of that encryption, is that you can't get into it if you don't have the capability from the drone.
Yeah, this is correct, John. This is exactly how it's made.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
Cool. Ready for next?
Yep, ready for the next one.
All right.
Let's see what else we've got here. When this takes a pic, does it take both the RGB and the thermal and store them both on the card? Maybe you can speak a little bit to the file handling. You know, how does it record? How does it store those files? Is it one click and you take every lens? How is the file handling? How does that work?
Yeah, so the format that we have in the picture mode is JPEG. And so when you take a picture in RGB or in thermal, it's stored in one file. Now, in FreeFlight 6, before finalizing or closing the file, you can actually still play with the color gradients of the thermal because this is feasible within the FreeFlight 6 app. Once it's fixed, it's fixed, and so you actually download the file in JPEG.
I see. So a lot of the people. So just for comparison, on the Anafi thermal, you're able to, because it's one file integrated together. Where I had done an earlier video in which I was able to move that into FLIR tools, and I was able to use both images to kind of display. Have you tried, I mean, even though like we'd already established that this is not a radiometric sensor, but have you tried looking at any of those images within FLIR tools to see if that has that same type of idea as far as just file management? And since it's not two separate files like other manufacturers have, one RGB and one thermal, is it possible, you know, I guess it would, you know, in post, are we going to have to strip these separately because it is one file, or, you know?
The file handling and where we stand as of today, but also this might evolve because we're finalizing firmware and the software as the product will be available in August. Mm-hmm. As we don't have radiometric data, to me, today, it's not compatible with FLIR tools, and so it doesn't bring very much value to put it in FLIR tools.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
It's a good question. It's a good question, and we'll see if something comes out of FLIR tools when we put data is not radiometric, and we don't put it in FLIR.
Okay. Well, I will definitely obviously make videos on a little bit more, how to manage that data and how to understand it while you're working with it. And hopefully, like I said, you had mentioned that this was going to be okay with Pix4D mapper as well as React. So using both of those, that type of file, you'll be able to run these into software such as those, which is really exciting. So, Jace, any other questions there? Of course.
Another one. Does the unit have HDMI out and/or a wireless solution for second screen / screen sharing for a non-pilot or monitoring the camera view? So, is there that possibility for second screen, second operator, wireless out, that type of thing?
Yeah, so there is no HDMI out on the controller as it stands. So someone to take the control of the camera and a kind of a birdie control that I've seen on some platforms. Having said that, if regarding the live streaming, we have options available through third-party solution, and John Sense is a good example because you can see what's live streaming on an Anafi platform, being an Anafi Thermal or an Anafi USA when it's launched, when it's available through John Sense. So this is an option we have, but it's not a wired connection.
Understand. So a lot of the sharing of a lot of this stuff is going to be done via internet or whatever, but there isn't, just to answer that question, there isn't a direct connection right out of the controller or right out of the device in order to pipe that into something. But there is ways to manage sharing it in a different way via an app, is what it sounds like. So next question, Jace. Good. That was a good question.
All right. Continuing. Now, you actually already answered this question. I just want to make sure that they caught it. Is compatibility with Pix4D React. That you did say that, and you mentioned that.
Mm-hmm.
So it is compatible with Pix4D React. That's it. Just wanted to make
From
by the way, we're all confused about that, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, everybody in the world's confused. So go ahead, give us some numbers there.
In Fahrenheit, platform from -32 to 110 Fahrenheit. So in Celsius, this is -35 Celsius to 43 Celsius. So as you can see, the range is very big, and I don't know much or many places where you really at -32 Fahrenheit in the winter, even if north you can, but this is very, very cold. So that's the answer, Chase, on this point.
Well, I will add that even though the specs are there, we definitely have people that push that limit. They literally push that limit, not just the limit, but they go way overboard it, especially on the heat side. So we're already, sitting at temperatures right now here in Utah of, hovering around that 100. Very, very hot temperatures. And I'm like, we've tested. plastic gets more brittle, things become a little bit more difficult to run. You know, it just, gimbals can kind of freeze up a little bit. We already know this happens. So yeah, anyway, good call. Jace, what do you got? Anything else there?
Yes. Let me see. It seems like we're having a little bit of an issue with the streaming, possibly bandwidth. I'm not exactly sure if we're just struggling with the streaming platform. So if you guys missed some of that, I apologize. Just as a summation, it was a negative 32 to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Obviously a massive operating range for you guys. So again, apologize for that. Not sure what's going on with network or something like that. But we do have additional questions. Let me take a look here. Gotta find it. What about
Probably say that the RTK PPK capability not available on this, and it's not that it's just not available. PPK is actually fairly easy to add when it comes down to most units out there. Usually a third party is going to make something like that to do corrective matters, but I wouldn't say that this was made overall to be a heavy duty mapper, very high-end mapper. We don't have on the RGB. It really wasn't overall intended for that. I think, again, our main market here is going to be public safety, critical infrastructure inspection, quick looks at any thermal anomalies or issues, and overall possibly doing roofing or taking images of roofs. But if we're going for absolute measurement on a system like this with PPK and RTK, I don't think that's really what this is intended to do. So I don't know if you wanted to elaborate on that, FX, but that's kind of what I'm seeing, is that rather than it being a real high-end mapping system.
Fully in line with you on that.
Excellent. Okay, so yeah, anything else? Probably doesn't do a lot of mapping overall, and that's kind of who it was engineered for. They don't, I mean, they do, but not in this level, not for a reconnaissance type drone, if you will. So any other questions, Jace?
No, I think that mostly wraps it up.
Mostly wraps it up with most of the questions. I think I just have a couple for you, FX, and it's, again, just reiterating or summarizing kind of what we've already gone over, but we're expecting production models to show up around when?
During August, we're currently producing these units, and so availability will be within August, and accordingly, RMUS will revert to you guys and tell you what are the available final date.
Excellent. Yeah, because I know, when anybody just announces anything, everybody starts to get bids, they start getting numbers, we start getting packages, thought out and put together. But then also people are going, hey, when is it going to be here? When is it going to be here? When is it going to be here? So just clarifying that we're looking at August and possibly, after packages and figures out, even September for getting those out to people. So
we're doing quotes.
Yeah, Jason's saying we're already doing quotes right now, and that's not surprising to me that we're already having that kind of a level of inquiry already coming right now. So expected production in the middle of August. And again, you didn't have anything else, Jace, that you want? I mean, FX has already got units out there right now being tested and figuring out use cases and capability also. I just wanted to say that, you know, we really do value Parrot's relationship here overall to try and allow our to give equipment out there. So I really value this overall but as well as Parrot, who we've already visited in overseas. You know, we've been there, so it's been great. So, FX, did you have anything else you wanted to share last minute here before we kind of close up with the webinar?
Yeah, just on that side, John. So RMU fully support them. Your technicians are trained. They know exactly what to do with the product. They know how to fix them. They know how to repair them. They know how to support them. And so this is a really close collaboration between the brand Parrot drones and not only Parrot drones but also some other brands on the group and RMUS. So and as a matter of fact, you're one of the few having the first pieces of a test with you. I really like when we have your feedback on product. I know you actually test them hard and give them, try everything with them and what you can do and so on. So it's always good to have your feedback, and and so thank you very much for your time today. I hope this is informative, and we are here and will be available if any question after this session.
Oh, excellent. Again, FX, we really appreciate you being here and again explaining the product so well, understanding how to move forward in this drone industry has always been very complicated. So for all the viewers out there watching this right now and active with us, to include FX and direct questions to him, again, I really appreciate you being here and watching and following along. So thank you again, FX and Parrot, for allowing us to do this webinar. One other thing that we wanted to remind everybody is that we have another the product is going to look like and a little bit more hands-on stuff. So again, I wanted to, 29th. Jace has corrected me on the 29th. So look forward to that on the Talent LMS or the RMUS Crew Educational portal to go ahead and get signed up for that. But as always, the informative information that we do here and education and developers and creators to come on these webinars and give us kind of an all-around idea on what's going on is super helpful and beneficial for the industry overall. So thanks everybody for joining us and what they do, and Jace co-hosting with me today. So thank you everybody, and have a successful week and weekend. We're almost there.
Okay, we're out.
Good.
So that should be with the snowball enabled. What does it sound like?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Fine.
Yeah,
And
I can hear
that's-
myself too.
That's exactly what it should have sounded like while we were doing it. And then I switch off. Because all I did was, because now all I would do is switch back and forth between him, between.
I can hear myself coming through it.
Which one?
That one.
The snowball?
Yeah.
I don't know. Let me see.
I might want to change the sensitivity on it.
I'm not sure. Well, I'm not sure how I would do it. I'm sure there's a way. So speak.
Testing, 1, 2. Audio.
But that should be really faint.
No, I can hear myself just fine.
I can barely. But I'm getting the same feed as you.
Hello. Yeah, maybe it's because I'm.
You should be hearing the same thing I'm hearing.
Yeah, I can definitely hear myself coming through there though.
I hear you really faintly though. It's interesting. I don't know.
I can hear this.
Mostly, you can hear that. Why? I can't hear that in mine at all.
I can definitely hear it.
Really?
Let's see. I can hear that too. Just type it.
Let me see. Do that again.
Yeah, let me make sure I'm not typing. So yeah, just go ahead and listen to yourself.
Okay. Then it's background.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's definitely background.
Yeah. It doesn't sound that loud through the live stream.
Okay. Yeah, for some
Because
reason.
it's pushing volume to that really hot.
Yeah. But basically, yeah, I could hear